growth, improve infrastructure, empower citizens, and position Akwa Ibom State for sustainable prosperity. As his administration marks 3 years in office, questions continue to emerge. Have the promises been fulfilled? What impact has the Arise agenda made? And what does the future hold for Akwa Ibom State? These questions formed the basis of a media chat session held on Sunday, 31st May at the Hilltop Mansion, Uyo, bringing together journalists from various national and international media platforms with a candid conversation with the governor. That's how we welcome you to this week's edition of Arise Akwa Ibom. This program is proudly brought to you from the office of the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Ekerite Udo. My name is Ima Akpantwen, your delightful host for today.
Akwa Ibom, rising.
During the interactive session, Governor Umaino, responding to questions from journalists, reflected on the journey so far, describing it as a blend of challenges, opportunities, and achievements. According to him, the past 3 years have been a mixed bag, but one marked by significant progress and measurable outcomes. He emphasized that his administration remains committed to translating campaign promises into tangible results that directly impact the lives of Akwa Ibom people. One of the recurring themes during the discussion was the popular description of Akwa Ibom State as Nigeria's best-kept secret. For years, the state have been recognized for its peaceful environment, rich cultural heritage, and economic potential. However, Governor Eno noted that the era of being hidden in plain sight is gradually coming to an end.
Akwa Ibom, rising.
How has it been? Mixed bag. It's been a mixed bag, and little of everything. But we're here, and we thank God for His grace that is keeping us. And we want to thank God for that grace, and thank the Akwa Ibom people for their support that has also helped us to be here, their confidence, and we thank Nigerians generally for their cooperation. So, how's it been? So good, so far, so good, as they say.
Challenging?
Of course, of course. To be a governor of a state is challenging, quite challenging. Myriads of issues you have to deal with. Sometimes, you know, Akwa Ibom has 7.9 million people. For me, I see it as an awesome privilege by God and the people to be able to serve them. So you walk round the clock. Round the clock, you are not on break, you are not on leave. Even when you think you are on leave, the box still stops on your table. So it's challenging, but it's also sometimes could be fun, depending on the situation. But we have wonderful people, my subordinates, people in my executive council, the security agencies, we're all working in sync. And so that gives you that kind of understanding that you have a great team. Because every great leader, of course, will always be known by the team he has working with him.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Julian?
Your Excellency, the last time we spoke on camera in this room, you told me that Akwa Ibom is the best kept secret in Nigeria. Given everything you've built over the past 3 years through the Arise agenda, is the allure of Akwa Ibom still a secret, or are you just a very modest man?
The last time you were here, and thank you, Juliana, for coming back to see us, I would like you again to go around and see for yourself that there's been a lot of progress. We have a way of monitoring the way we work in Akwa Ibom. We have our timelines, we have a delivery system in the governor's office. I have delivery advisors, and every blessed day we see, I have a dashboard in my office that I know where we are on our project. So it's beginning to show. On Friday, I guess, we had a variety night in the Arise Palm Resort. Not opened yet, but I just wanted Akwa Ibomites and indeed Nigerians to have a taste of what. So we're beginning to start, if you like, running the engines, but we're not rowing yet.
Not yet.
Responding to questions about the Arise Park and its sustainability beyond his administration, Governor Eno revealed that the project was conceived as a long-term economic asset rather than a short-term political project. According to him, every component of the park is being developed with sustainability and future functionality in mind.
When I got into office, we were reviewing some work, and then I got this brief from the Commissioner for Works that told me we're sitting on a time bomb. The whole of Government House in the next 5 months will be gone. That we're surrounded by valley erosion, and some homes were already giving way, and we've lost some people, heart attack and all of that, businesses collapsing, about almost 5 streets coming together, 73 hectares of ravine. And so I said, we need to go take a look. So I remember that first day we went, the security were struggling to keep me away from advancing, because as you're standing, it was caving in. And so we came back, and I thought through it and said, what do we do? So we called in major engineering firms to look at it. They brought the design, the cost came, it was huge. That was the first major thing I had to take a look at. And they said to me, we have to reclaim this. The cost of reclamation then was 20-something billion with engineering designs and everything. And they showed all that was going to happen. We subjected it to our in-house checks. We had the bid, and that was the best we could get. So I said to them, then when we reclaim, what happens? We can't reclaim this space and leave it there. Then I got a security report. This is the beehive of criminal activities in the state. People were kidnapped, they will take them there. Cultist operations will happen there. It's a ravine, you can't approach it. So I said, okay. When I came into office, part of the blueprint we had was that we're going to have an amusement park for the kids. Up until then, we didn't have any amusement park for the kids. So they go on vacation, they either have to go to Port Harcourt or go to Lagos or Abuja for those who could afford it. And so I said to them, you know what, we're considering a different site. So I said, if we reclaim this, why don't we put this here? And so I told the engineers, said, I want you to redesign. Not only do we reclaim, let us redesign the park to be here. The theme park, it was at the time. So they came up with the design of the theme park for the kids. We said, look, this is 73 hectares. We can have something for everyone. And so we came up with the idea of, why don't we turn it to a resort? We have just the theme park for the kids, we have things for the adults, swimming pool, we have a natural lake, we have floating bars, and so they designed it. And that's, the rest is now history. We're 90% through, and I am trusting that when we extend a formal invitation to His Excellency the President and Commander-in-Chief, will accept to come and commission the facility. Now, what is the plan for sustainability? You just must partner with the private sector. Government have always maintained, and from a vantage position I can tell you government cannot run business. So if you create an enterprise, you must get professionals to run it. And my attitude is create a special purpose vehicle and let them run it, and you sign a contract. Well, tourism for us is the next crude oil in Akwa Ibom. So we have segmented tourism into every facet of development we have done. In our infrastructural development, we have the agricultural tourism. We have the model farm, and I just passed by there this afternoon. We have a hotel there. We have other facilities within the model farm. It's a 50-hectare facility. That's the first we're doing. Our intention, God willing, if Akwa Ibom says so, by God's grace, we come back. We intend to replicate it in the 3 territorial districts. That is to make our people just go in there, relax, but have what you call farm-to-table kind of meal. And so we are developing tourism in that regard.
Healthcare remains one of the most vital sectors in any society, and journalists sought the governor's assessment of his administration's performance in this area. Governor outlined ongoing reforms aimed at strengthening healthcare delivery across the state.
When we declared health emergency in Akwa Ibom September of last year, it was really bad. We didn't have doctors, we didn't have nurses in the hospitals, and yet we were building primary healthcare centers. We have first phase 31 primary healthcare centers, model primary healthcare centers. Are just, when you see them, they are like general hospitals in some other climes. And because they have facility for accommodation for staff, we have full theater there. You can, it's all over the place. It's off-grid sometimes, and we solar powered. We have all of that. So we didn't have enough staff. What did we do? We came up with this idea that, look, we have retirees. That, yes, they retired, some at 60, but at the time, remember, when you go into the school of nursing at the time, since government was paying, they started counting the years for you. So you can be, it didn't matter whether, even when you were not 60, but if you had done 35 years, you retire. So you still have them, as we say in our parlance, retired but not tired. We brought back about 1,000 of them first. And then we're about onboarding another 2,000. We went through the computer-based test. We've done the oral interview. The head of service have told me the final report of selection should be on my desk in 2 weeks, and we're onboarding 2,000. So we have staff. Now, in terms of allowances and all of that, we are paying, we have now, whatever was the issue with the health sector in terms of their welfare, we've taken care of that. And that's why we have the respect, the understanding, and the relationship with the health workers in our state. The Nigerian Medical Association, severally they've given us awards. They've also seen that we've done so much. They've said so themselves. Now, sustainability, again, like I've said, depends on the kind of people you have. We are fortunate. The Commissioner for Health that the state has today, a young man, and he's doing extremely well. Start with his office. It's one of the best ministries physically in terms of his office. So that's signpost the kind of man he is. He's a little bit physically challenged right now. He had an accident, but he's still working. We've created emergency response ambulances. We have about 30 of them. We have, and they're responding. The numbers are working. They've been able to help, like the maternal mortality rate you've talked about. They've picked up a lot of pregnant women, and they've helped them. The truth is, we need to do a lot more of sensitization in the rural communities, because you know where we come from. You know, thankfully you are from Akwa Ibom. Our people are still in this Yeah, they want to patronize the traditional birth attendants. Some will go to church and they say to them, don't go to the hospital. And this local thing, don't let the knife get on you. If you get under the knife, you will die. As if, the knife with a doctor heals. The knife with a madman kills. So sometimes we can't decipher. So there's a need for a lot of sensitization. The hospitals are there. The medications are there. We need to do a little more of sensitization, and we are doing that. It's just that we need to step it up. So take care of that. It's actually coming down. And so in healthcare, we've done a lot. Renovation of general hospitals. We've put dialysis machines in hospitals that never used to be. We have ordered MRI and scanning machines. They are already, some are being installed right now. And we have put funding into the health sector. September will be 1 year. We declared a 1-year emergency. And by September ending, the Honorable Commissioner for Health will be coming up with our total achievement for within that 1 year. And we see, do we extend the emergency, or have we reached a manageable size? But from where we met it, there's been tremendous improvement. The insurance cover, we just started the insurance company. We now have over 222,000. Recently, the agency was honored as one of the fastest growing health insurance agencies in the country. So I believe that we have a team that is good at what they do. And with that team, we are sure they will do, because they are medical practitioners themselves. They are young people. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. John, used to be the secretary in NMA, and he used to criticize government a lot. So one of the things I did was to bring him and say, now come, with all the criticism, sit here and let people criticize you too. So he's aware of this, and he's working round the clock to make sure he delivers. The 350 bed, the management, again, this is an ISO certified hospital. We're working in collaboration with international agencies, and we're getting it done. We will have a proper management system in place. I like collaboration a lot. Government will not run it. We will run it in partnership. Government, for me, is an enabler, particularly in this part where we don't have the multi from our area. We're building them. We're not yet there. We're not like my papa no be Dangote or Adeleke. We go there, okay. That's the song for me. We may not have the Dangotes, we may not have the Otedolas, we may not have, so governments here must be an enabler. And thankfully, the President, Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on his resumption, have made funding available to subnationals. And so we're able to enable some of these things. But having done that, it will be difficult for us to manage. We need to partner. And that's the way we're going.
The governor ruled out various channels through which government interventions have directly impacted citizens, from economic empowerment programs to social support initiatives. According to him, the true measure of governance lies not in infrastructure alone, but also in positive transformation of lives and livelihoods.
Human capital development. I believe we have really moved in terms of human capital development in the state. When I came in, my predecessor started the Dakada Skill Acquisition Center, but I finished it and we commissioned it. And so far we have trained various skills, over 2,000. I know there are about 3,000 or so there right now that we have just, I signed some papers yesterday, excuse me, and about 3,000 of them are there right now, and they're acquiring some skills. So we are developing them, and once we finish, what we do is to also ensure that we empower them with skill sets, starter packs, and that's what we do in terms of those skills. We have the IBOM-led, IBOM Leadership and Entrepreneurial Development Center. They are there, and they help with the SMEs. They're doing so much in terms of training for the SMEs, and we are working with the Bank of Industry that we encouraged to set up in Akwa Ibom. We gave them a matching fund of 2 billion, and they are to come up. They came up with 2 billion, and they are giving interest reduced loan to our people. I think single digit. That's what we agreed, and to encourage our SMEs in the state. So we are developing that capacity. So far, I can tell you that we have also indirect employment from the statistics that I have from our statistics office. We have about 86,000 indirect, direct interface that we have been able to give grants, train, empower in the last 3 years. But onto your question about the big ones in the oil and gas, I don't think government is in a place to do that. It takes a lot of process. We need to encourage our young people to take advantage of the opportunities that are available nationally. You have to go through and then go through the ranks, go through the ladder. It's a process. You have to maybe get into any of the oil companies, go through the rank, and then study and build up. For the ones we can assist for and that won't be much, but maybe once in a while you grant scholarship, go and read petrochemical engineering, go and read. That's a one-off thing, you know. But people must be very intentional about developing themselves, and that's the truth. You know, government will not be able to do everything, and we have some Akwa Ibomites that are already there. We may not be at the very top, but I believe slowly and steadily we'll get there. In terms of the oil and gas free trade zone, developing the hydrocarbon, we are talking, I wrote a letter recently to Seplat, and I said to them, you're here. And unlike them, they are more community-based than the company they took over from. To be honest with you, I can tell you that as a governor. ExxonMobil, with respect, was not interested in community development. But Seplat came in, we've been engaging, and I love the engagement. And I said to them, we can collaborate and we can bring gas to the oil and gas free trade zone. That oil and gas free trade zone will not succeed until you have a feedstock. And the feedstock itself is gas. The gas is offshores. You have to pipe it onshore, and then you can know you have a hub. Then, of course, investors will come, because that is the only way to go. We did that. We are doing that engagement now, and they wrote back to say to us they are willing to have that conversation with us. I pray and hope that that conversation goes through. Once we are able to bring gas onshore to the oil and gas free trade zone, then you have created a hub around the free trade zone, because all of the investors you want to come, they need gas. Once the feedstock is not there, why do you have to cite any industry? Akwa Ibom has the potential. Make no mistake, we have everything to become a leading state in this country. But we need to partner. We need to work things around with other players in the industry. And I'm sure, I'm hopeful that we should be able to do that.
Akwa Ibom, rising.
Welcome back. I'll now hand you over to Samuel Ayara for an interview session with the Commissioner for Information, Honorable Aniekan Omana.
It's another edition of the program you love to listen to, Inside the Rice Agenda. My name is Samuel Ayara. On today's edition of the show, we will be looking at Governor Romano's third anniversary wrap-up. We look at what has been achieved in all of the 3 years and what prospect lies for Akwa Ibom people in the remaining 1 year. My guest on the show to wrap up all of what's been happening in the last couple of weeks concerning Governor Romano's third anniversary and put us through with what the administration is setting out to achieve in the remaining 1 year is the Honorable Commissioner in the Ministry of Information, Elder Aniekan Omana. You're welcome to Inside the Rice Agenda.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm happy to be here.
Good to have you too. And you see, with you, it's always been a delight. But we'll get straight into the conversation. What is it? In 3 years, how well has Governor Romano stuck to his developmental blueprint?
So far, so good. So far, so well. Happy moments for Akwa Ibom people. Happy 3 years anniversary. Congratulations, His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Omo Base Eno, PhD, for his commitment, for the hard work he's shown, for the love he's shown, the compassion that he's shown to the people of Akwa Ibom State. We can only celebrate him. But it's been a very exciting moment, moments of superlative accomplishments, 3 years of action, 3 years of impactful action and results, 3 years of an administration that cares for the people, 3 years of infrastructural renaissance, 3 years of agricultural revolution, 3 years of integrated rural development. It's been 3 years of security management, infrastructural expansion, and of course, educational advancement. 3 years of a very robust and audacious steps in tourism development. And of course, we'll get into all of that. Sports development, ditto for human capital development, compassionate intervention, and what have you. It's been exciting moments for the people of Akwa Ibom State.
Exciting moments for the people of Akwa Ibom State. We have had Elder Aniekan Omana tell us in his account of the last 3 years of Governor Romano. But on the flip side of that, we've followed through quite a number of conversations in the build-up to the actual third anniversary. We'll come to that. But before getting to the conversations that have made the third anniversary quite thick, from accountability to presenting his scorecard and, of course, to unbundling most of what easily would pass for misgivings about the administration. We saw the administration pull through a big win when it, on Friday night during the Variety night show, took Akwa Ibom people and Nigerians to where used to be a dreaded gully. I want you to take your mind back to what the ravine between the Brook Street and Etimumana end of the state capital used to be, and juxtapose them with the experience of last week, Friday. What does that make of Governor Romano as a leader in a time like this?
See, what you've just described now, because you've answered the question yourself. So what you've just described now is clear vision, a man of clear vision, and a man with deep understanding of how to translate vision into tangible actions, and actions that are also beneficial to the people. It wasn't just enough to reclaim the 73 hectares of gullies of despair, gullies that had consumed life, gullies of criminality and so on. But having spent billions of naira reclaiming and remediating that gully, so the forward-thinking governor of Akwa Ibom State, Pastor Mono, decided that he must put something on that thing so that it will have value, forever value for the people of Akwa Ibom State, other Nigerians and global citizens. So he decided to replace the gullies with an audacious rice palm resort, sitting on 73 hectares that replaces gullies, and of course, gullies of 40 meters down that would have destroyed the seat of governance and the fabric of the city of Uyo. he got that reclaimed totally. It was an audacious act that consumed and gulped money. It takes a man of great heart and vision to do that kind of project. And then he replaced it with a mini Disney or a Disney World of a sort, in Uyo here. And if you get into the place, you will see on approach, the first thing that welcomes you there is the golf course, the 9-hole golf course. And then you get it, you slide to the right, you see the golf house, well-appointed golf house sitting there. Then you see all the drainage lines and the side bridges and the foot bridges that now takes you direct into the artificial lakes and the lazy rivers around there with, of course, floating bars inside of that environment. Then as you slide over and look over, you see the restaurants, the intercontinental and African restaurants, and the lounges that are lining the side over, looking through the palms, which is actually the walk in the woods, where people can relax, have under their Wi-Fi, they sit on the stone boxes, interact as families and friends. And then you slide downwards to the right. On the left, you see all of the shopping centers, the lounges, and that is there, and the shopping area. And then you look to the left, you will see the children playground. You see all the roller coasters and all the modern play facilities for children. As you move further, you now get into the sporting area, where you will see both indoor and outdoor sporting, from football to tennis to volleyball to whatever you can have, and then the indoor sporting, the tennis courts, all of those ones outdoor, then the indoor one, and then of course to the spa and the main terrace for spectators. It's a complete thing. Across once you cross over the sporting area, you get into the 20 well-appointed apartments, 15 two-bedroom and 5 3-bedroom apartment, well furnished to the teeth, waiting there for guests. And then as you head upwards towards the exit area, you will now find the 2,000 capacity banquet hall that will host any event that you can think about. And a new hotel is coming out of that facility. And then we'll have the villas that will down the water line through the streamlines at the edge that overlooks the other side, the other hills of Uyo. So it's a beauty to behold. But it doesn't end there. Well-paved roads, super drains, mechanized and digital access control, and all of that. It's an exciting thing. Nigerians are waiting for the opening of this. Everyone is waiting. And so for the variety night to be taken there, it was a deliberate action by His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State to begin to put in effect or giving effect to the functionality of the Arise Palm Resort. So he decided to give a little bit of a test of what the pudding would be. And then, so people say, wow, so what is this? See the lighting, the glazer, the beauty that bestrewed that place in the night. I remember when the event ended, I was still there. We didn't leave on time because we needed to it was part of the community working, so we needed to be sure that things were out and people left the place safely. A lot of people didn't want to leave. They were doing pictures. They were looking around. People were strolling through. So I saw people strolling from one end to the other, and so on. Some were not even interested in the variety. They were interested in walking the precincts of the Palm Resort. So that is the power of vision. That's what we are talking about. That is tourism at its best. Tourism drive of His Excellency Governor Omoyeno. Since we are talking about the Palm Resort, that now takes us into other tourism interventions, such as the ongoing 5,000 capacity convention center that is there at the convention arena in the old Tropicana area. And that's coming on very, very smartly. You can see the access bridge is already up there, leading you into the main hall and banqueting and other meeting rooms and breakout rooms. You can see the oval shape is already coming out. The facility has been roofed. And then you look to the left, you will see the 200-bed International Hotel Ibom hotels that will support that convention center. Of course, they come together under the Ibom Hotels brand. And then to the left, as you move on, you will now see the Rice Shopping City that's coming out of the construction is ongoing. The access gate and roads are being done. The internal roads are being done. And then, of course, the rehabilitation of the old theme park will also take place to wrap up and ring in the entirety of that convention arena with the old Tropicana arena, so everything becomes one now as the the convention, Ibom Convention Arena. So that's what's happening in that place. So many other elements are coming together in these 3 years. But of course, if we are to go specifically as to the accomplishments of the administration, I would say that you can categorize them into soft and hard accomplishments. There are soft and hard accomplishments that touches the fabric of the existence of the people. For instance, look at His Excellency Governor Moeno came into office and inherited outstanding gratuities backlog of 111 billion. At the point the administration clocked free, he had cleared 83 billion, over 83 billion of the 111, with a promise that he will level it out by the end of his first term so that we have it zero, and then he will run at par with existing gratuity and pension structure. That is the minimum wage, you are aware. It took it to 80,000. The national benchmark is 70,000. Ours is 80. And so on human capital development, training and super training of people, over 84,000 people have benefited from direct and indirect employment. Over 53,000 are in the civil service as we speak. Another 5,000 will be added. When you add the 2,000, 2,000 and the 1,000, that gives you 5,000 people to be added to the civil service. And of course, those who are also direct appointees of government for the first time, 750. I stand to be corrected. It has not happened in this state ever in terms of number. And for the first time, you have PAs, appointees in all the 369 wards of Akwa Ibom, representing their wards, governance, people representing government at the ward level. That's outside of councillors and supervisors. So bringing governance closer to the people. These are some of the things when you look at. Of course, the compassionate interventions of the administration. His Excellency, the Governor of Akwa Ibom said, you can say everything, but one project that touches at the heart of his heart more is the Arise Compassionate Homes Initiative. Building homes for the hitherto homeless, for those who are living under trees and thatches, those who are living under rain, those who are covering themselves with plantain leaflets. He decided to build for them 2-bedroom homes complete with solar lighting system, water supply, electricity, and of course empowering them again with $500,000 to start basic trade at their local levels. It's something unique. It's something that is so unique that the world is waiting to see this really come to fruition. And we said to them, it's already come to fruition. I remember when an international media organization called me to ask, is it true that this really happened? What we did was to compile the list of all the beneficiaries, including their phone numbers and locations, and send to the international media. And they said they will do the independent verification. And I'm sure they are doing that. When they are done, it's an international organ. I won't mention the name. When they are ready, I'm sure they will unveil it. These are some of the things that are going on. And we are excited as a people to be this. But if we have to run the Arise agenda itself, agricultural revolution in the 3 years has taken its firm root. The model farm is coming out in a manner never seen in this state. A farm settlement of over 50 hectares that comes with farm and non-farm assets. It's a farm resort in itself because it has a farm area where you farm, where you do, and it also has a farm assets such as the farm hotel, the farm conference facility, farm houses, production houses, and so on, all within one facility. It's fenced round, access roads have been done, buildings have come up, plants and plantations are already growing up, and that will be replicated in the 3 senatorial districts depending on which local government provides land for it. In this case, Uyolo Senatorial District, Nsurubium provided light and then land rather, and then that came on stream. That's in addition to distribution of farm seedling to farmers, encouraging farmers with soft loans and grants to help them. First grants rather, 2 billion farmers grant shared to farmers, benefiting farmers, registered benefiting farmers, and that has improved agriculture in the state and reduced the prices of food. Ditto for those who had access to cassava stems, improved seedlings, and so on and so forth, and including those in fisheries. And then if you move forward from that, rural development has been a bottom-up approach. So far, in the 1,300 kilometers of roads that have been constructed, most of these are coming from the hinterland, from the back end, and coming to the city. The farm to market approach. And then if you look at all of that, 40 bridges, none of those bridges, yet, we don't have any in the city center. If you look at the 40 bridges under this administration, all 40 are in rural areas, connecting communities. And this is very, very important for our people to understand. The compassionate homes are all in rural areas. They're in rural areas. There is none that you see along Ikorekpene Road or Wangiba or Barracks Road or Brook Street or access to Government House or wherever around the state. They are all in villages and communities. The rural development mantra of the Arise agenda is leaving its billing under His Excellency Governor Omona. And in these 3 years, that's going on. We can go, let me just summarize this. Of course, we've talked about the rural development infrastructure. We've talked about over 1,300 kilometers of roads and 40 bridges going on, and many more. Gully erosion and ecological remediation, even within the parameters of the Government House and other areas like the Tabernacle area and all of that are going on. And then, of course, if you go to the security management, Akwa Ibom is adjudged as one of the best places to be in. Thank you. We thank God for this. We thank His Excellency for working very closely with the security agencies to ensure that this state is a safe place to be in. Educational advancement. Of course, you can see what is going on in the educational sector. All 31 local government areas are benefiting from the model schools, model primary schools that can go for small size universities in some places. I've seen some universities that are not of that size. I've seen some polytechnics that are not of that size with that level of equipment. Libraries, staff quarters, computer rooms, students' play area, assembly hall, teachers' quarters, play area, field, whatever you can think about. Well-equipped classroom, solar power to provide electricity, and the ditto for the tertiary, on the funding of the tertiary institutions, particularly the Akwa Ibom State University and the Akwa Ibom State College of Education, which has been upgraded now to the University of Education. That will now bring the number of universities owned by this state to 2. In addition to the state the state polytechnic, and it's growing. And the continuous funding of AXU that has led it to securing over 22 accreditation in the last 1 year. And all of this are going on in the educational sector. The healthcare sector is receiving a super boom following the healthcare emergency that was declared by His Excellency the Governor, and the attack on healthcare infrastructure to ensure that they come out well alive. In addition to the building of the modern healthcare center, the oxygen plant, and of course the healthcare insurance that has attracted over 200,000 enrollees within 1.5 years. All of this is going on, but the bigger picture is here. That is the 350 bed Ibom International Hospital that's ongoing. Work is going on there. It will come with 24 departments within the medical city that will come with the pharmaceutical processing plant, the super laboratories, of course, the hospital itself, the medical residencies, and so on and so forth. You can go on and on and on. The Senior Citizen Center, Senator Olurami Tinubu Senior Citizen Center, is all within the medical city conurbation. So if you understand the idea of a medical city, and if you've gone to the Dubai Medical City, you will see what His Excellency is bringing to bear in Akwa Ibom State, and we'll be glad at the end of the day that we are citizens of Akwa Ibom.
All right, my guest has been the Honorable Commissioner in the Ministry of Information, Elder Umana, and of course, when you have him, you can be sure that you are going to have a compendium-like sort of information about Governor Umana's 3 years. And of course, as we wind down on the administration's first 4 years, it's quite a good time to find out how much this administration has achieved in the last 3 years. You've heard from him, and of course, let's stretch further into the conversation by getting him to tell us what has been the felt impression of Akwa Ibom people. We understand that with development should naturally come some sort of feedback from beneficiaries of this development. is government getting this feedback? What has been the feedback from the people? Is government just doing these things without people reacting in any way? What has been the measurable feedback?
The feedbacks have been great and good, and they are measurable impact around. Okay, take for instance the housing sector, where 1,048 houses have been built and given out in this period. In all of this, about 70% of these houses are social houses and basic houses for the vulnerable and the lower rung of the society. Then you have about 30, 20 something percent to 30 institutional housing. That is like the judiciary village, the House of Assembly village. It's good. Then you now have the luxury housing, which is just 3%. That is like the word luxury, and of course, the villas that will be coming up 30%. So for civil servants, 175 in number, who so far benefited from free houses, level 1 to 7. You had the testimonies the day they were handed the keys. You had the testimonies the day they won the houses, right there at the event that His Excellency attended. So there have been very positive feedback, and people are appreciative. The beneficiaries of the compassionate homes, 438 as we speak, have given their testimonies, and they are appreciative and praying for the governor to go together. The people driving on the good roads that are going on in the crisscrossing every part of the state are glad that these things are happening. Those who are occupying or working, even those who are providing services at the various estates, are giving testimony, because that's putting food on the table for them and their various families.
All right, so that brings us
there's so much going on in different areas. But now, before we go, we need to talk about some very key things that are economic stimulants, things that stimulate socioeconomic growth, particularly in certain areas. And we can't conclude this without talking about the blue economy and the revitalization of the maritime a corridor within the Oron sector, and of course the building of the Oron maritime infrastructure that's giving impetus to that marine economy around that area, from the shoreline protection to the jetties construction, all 4 jetties, including passenger jetty, commercial jetties, tourism jetty, and the jetty jetties, and the terminal building with the cool room and the drying room for those of our people who farm crayfish and the fish farmers. All from there, they will now have drying cabins, and of course storage cabins, refrigerating cabins, industrial type, to enable them store their products from the sea. And so it's coming out very well. The whole of that ecosystem is changing, and that will now begin to create the groundwork for the upcoming Ibom Deep Sea Port, in which some of the feasibility studies have been submitted, and of course the presidency has listed it among the 5 key deep sea ports which have passed the processes, and His Excellency is meeting with some investors and, of course, determining federal government and state government collaboration to see how impetus can be given to that project. We can also leave it there, because without power, none of these things will happen. That is why even today, the governor will be swearing in the commissioners in the Akwa Ibom State Electricity Regulatory Commission, the state regulatory organ for electricity management, to begin the process of taking ownership of the electricity market in the state. And of course, the incorporation of the electricity distribution and holding company has also been done. That will be the ones that will now manage the assets and all of that. So there are clear milestones following the Power Summit of last year, and then all of the steps taken, including and beginning with, of course, the unbundling process following the Electricity Act of 2023. So now the process is on. The commission has been established, commissioners have been appointed and sworn in, and of course all of the and all of this determination of assets. There's so much going on that will, in the shortest possible time, guarantee power supply to Akwa Ibom people, including the off-grid interventions that the state government is planning to get power to the people at the quickest possible time, working with the support of local government areas. So there's so much going on in different areas of the administration.
All right, Elder Man, let's look at the socioeconomic impact of all of these. Socioeconomic impact, how much of this is consciously putting monies in pockets of Akwa Ibom people? Is it because we seem
Let's
to...
improve livelihood. Everything we've talked about is to improve the social economic conditions of our people. For up to 42,000 people to be in various construction sites means that they are providing food and quality livelihood for their people. On the school level, no parent pays fees in this state, and so on. Put that together and know what it would have cost. The savings made for families, it's a lot. It's a lot. The
All
savings
right.
made in the healthcare, there's just so much for the people. So the impact is huge and great.
All right, there cannot really be enough time to discuss the strides and the impact of Governor Romano in 3 years. But with the Honorable Commissioner for Information, this conversation would be a continuous one, especially as we inch towards the finishing line of the first term of the administration. But as we begin to wind down, Honorable Mana, let's have you speak to us about what Akwa Ibom people should expect in the last 1 year, coming from the recently concluded 3 days prayer summit to herald the 4th year of the administration.
Yes, first let me join Akwa Ibom people in appreciating His Excellency the Governor Omeno for convoking the 3 days prayer summit, which he has always done to herald in the new year of the administration. So the 4th administrative year, the Akwa Ibom people have prayed for it, and the Almighty God will listen to their prayer and grant this state success and the administration success in all its endeavors in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. Now, what's the focus and the key? 85 audacious projects spread across the nook and crannies of this state and in various sectors. The target is to ensure its completion. The target is to ensure that we take all of this into the finishing line so that Akwa Ibom people can have the benefit of these projects. So I can visualize big time commissionings coming up maybe in the course of this 4th administrative year. I can visualize big time close-up and polishing of projects. All of these 85 audacious projects, their completion, their commissioning, and of course, the tidying up of the Arise 1.0 is what we expect, even as we begin to work on Arise 2.0. Because with His Excellency the Governor now, the candidate of the All Progressive Congress for the governorship, the sole candidate of the All Progressive Congress for the governorship of Akwa Ibom State, we can only begin to give thanks to God and work as a people as He returns to the Hilltop Mansion for His 2nd term, so that He will now continue to do very big things for Akwa Ibom. But let me say to you that, as He has always said, the greatest legacy He wants in government, which I believe in, will be the people of Akwa Ibom State. And that's why He's sparing nothing in investing in the people. That's why He's sparing nothing in empowering the people. That's why He spent billions of naira. The last count, if you aggregate all, over 20 billion been put in indirect and indirect empowerment so far, and a lot more will happen. That's why He will now begin to consolidate on the activities and actions of the Arise 1.0 and look forward with greater enthusiasm to the Arise 2.0 as we all march out as a people to re-elect His Excellency Pastor Omano as Governor of Akwa Ibom State come 2027, working in unison with the election of the Senate President and His Excellency Distinguished Senator Godswill Obot Abwabi, GCON, and of course the bigger one, His Excellency the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, to return to Aso Rock as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. This is a clarion call to Akwa Ibom people. Support our party, the APC, support our Governor, Pastor Omano, support our Senate President, His Excellency Godswill Akpabio, support our President, His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Pray for them, pray for Akwa Ibom, pray for our Governor, His Excellency Pastor Omano, so that he will have the strength and the resources to continue to work for Akwa Ibom State. But I say to you, Pastor Omano, Governor of Akwa, is one man who is so committed to the call of this office. He's so committed. I have never seen this level of detailing and commitment to the cause of the success of the state. He spends his time, he spends his energy, he's committed. He sits through delivery meetings. He sits through different meetings. He tries to make sure that things are done properly. It's caused a lot of transparency and savings for this state. And that is why this state is not going and borrowing. And we thank him for this commitment and dedication to the development of Akwa Ibom State.
With Elder Nekonoman, it's always been a delight having him on the show. Arise 1.0 energetically approaching the finishing line and enthusiastically transitioning into Arise 2.0. We trust that, as he has requested, that we would continue to have Akwa Ibom people queue behind Governor Umano to deliver the best for Akwa Ibom people. Many thanks, Elder Umano, for coming on the show. We trust that, as always, you'll always be available to lay insights and backgrounds to all of this development.
Thank you very much.
The pleasure was ours.
Akwa Ibom, rising.
3 years into the Arise agenda, the conversation continues. From infrastructure to healthcare, tourism to human capital development, financial reforms to youth and women's empowerment. Governor Umoino maintains that his administration remains focused on delivering sustainable development for Akwa Ibom State. As the journey progresses, the questions will remain, the expectations will continue, and the assessments will evolve. But one thing is clear. The vision outlined under the Arise agenda continues to shape the narrative of governance in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's edition of Akwa Ibom Rising. On behalf of our producer, the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Ekerite Udo, and the entire production crew, my name remains Ima Akpanjen, and I'm saying thank you for watching and bye for now.
Adbn, a part of you.
There are stories that make the heart race. Where love is born in the most dangerous moments.
Ali was actually Poyraz Ali.
Each secret can destroy everything. Love. Passion. Power. Lies.
It's not the first time you let me down. It was my mistake for trusting an idiot like you.
The dramas that make you feel everything. Catch the sizzling episodes of Sins and Roses at 4 p.m., Domenica Monteiro at 5 p.m., Be My Sunshine at 6 p.m., and Avenida Brazil at 7 p.m., Central African Time. Only on Novelas Plus.
Astonishing. It's absolutely
Adbn, a part of you.
This is ADBN News, the headlines. Military confirms
the important thing
in Oyo rescue operation. NDLEA arrests South African women for alleged heroin trafficking. Federal government raises WAEC NECO registration fees to 50,000 naira. On the foreign scene, 4 killed in fresh Russian attacks on Ukraine. In sports, Nigeria qualifies for 2026 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. Good evening, I am Ama Marcus, and now the details. The Nigerian Army says security forces recorded casualties during the operation that led to the rescue of the kidnapped Oyo school children and teachers. The victims were rescued on July 10th in a coordinated operation involving multiple security agencies after spending several days in captivity. The military confirmed that Lieutenant Isaac was killed in line of duty during the rescue mission and was buried the same day. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde had earlier disclosed a military personnel lost his life during that operation. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde says 39 rescued pupils and 5 of the 7 teachers abducted in Oriri local government area are receiving medical treatment ahead of their reunion with their families. The governor disclosed this during a visit to the victims at the Nigerian Army Medical Services Division 2 in Ibadan. He described the rescue as a major relief for the state and said details of the operation will be made public next week.
We say thank you to our troops, the officers and men. We lost some officers and part of our troops as well. So all the families that have lost loved ones in this whole process, we want to assure them that their loved ones will not have died in vain. So I'm extremely happy.
Governor Makinde said arrangements are being made for family members to reunite with the victims as part of their post-trauma recovery. He also commended the Nigerian Army and other security agencies for their professionalism and coordinated efforts that led to the successful rescue.
When I arrived here around 9, they were not here already, so I waited. When they came in, we saw them, and then when they were being brought out from the vehicle, oh my God! I was even thinking some of them are gone because they didn't even know the way they were carrying. They look small boys, and then the military personnel who are doctors, and then the nurses, give it to them. They did a wonderful job. They were on ground. They received the children, they laid them on ground and they were feeding them. From there they were putting all medical things on them. But one was very critical, the one that was given oxygen. But fortunately for us, is back and healthy this morning. They've removed the oxygen, and more than 70% of them are no longer on drips. In fact,
Speaker of the House of Representatives, Abbas Tajudeen, has congratulated security agencies on the successful rescue of teachers, pupils and students abducted by terrorists in Oyo State, describing their safe return as a welcome relief. He commended President Bola Tinubu for his leadership and praised Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde for working closely with the federal government and security agencies throughout the rescue operation. The Speaker also lauded the armed forces, intelligence and paramilitary agencies for the successful mission, saying it has boosted public confidence in the nation's security architecture. He urged security agencies to strengthen the protection of schools, sustain efforts to rescue other Nigerians still in captivity, while reaffirming the House of Representatives' commitment to supporting laws and enhancing national security. Benue State Governor Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia has condemned the killing of scores of people in Akpachi village and Otukpo Nobi community in Otukpo local government area by suspected armed herdsmen. The governor described the attack as barbaric, inhuman, and a direct threat to the peace and stability of Benue State, saying it was aimed at undermining the government's efforts to restore lasting peace. Governor Alia described security agencies and directed them to intensify surveillance efforts, strengthen border patrols, hunt down the perpetrators, and ensure their arrest and prosecution, while also deploying additional personnel to protect vulnerable communities. He urged residents to remain vigilant and support security operatives with timely information, as he expressed sympathy to the bereaved families, wished the injured a speedy recovery, and reaffirmed his administration's commitment to protecting lives and property. Meanwhile, aggrieved protesters today stormed the palace of Ochidoma, the Royal Majesty John Odubo, carrying the bodies of victims killed in fresh attacks by suspected herdsmen in Benue State. 10 people were reportedly killed in separate attacks on 2 communities in Otukpo local government area. The protesters demanded urgent intervention from the Benue State government and the federal government, security agencies as well, to end the recurring violence in Benue South. Nigerian youths have called for greater inclusion in governance and intensified efforts to tackle insecurity across the region. The call was made at the National Youth Council of Nigeria, NTY-CN Northern Stakeholders Forum in Kaduna, where representatives from the 19 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory met to discuss youth development, national unity, and security. In a communique, the stakeholders commended the federal government's economic reforms and recent security gains, but urged President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to strengthen efforts against banditry, kidnapping, and other criminal activities. They also called for greater inclusion of northern youths in political appointments and national decision-making.
The forum commends the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for its bold economic reforms aimed at repositioning Nigerian economy. Members also acknowledge the federal government efforts in addressing insecurity across the country, particularly the recent successful rescue and the release of the abducted children, school children, and teachers in Oyo State. While appreciating these efforts, the forum urged the President to intensify security operations to decisively address the persistent security challenges confronting northern Nigeria and other parts.
The forum resolved to convene a Northern Security Summit to bring together government officials, security agencies, traditional and religious leaders, development partners, and youth groups to develop practical solutions to the region's security challenges.
Recognizing the increasing security challenges confronting the northern Nigeria, the forum resolved to convene a national Northern Security Summit aimed at bringing together government agencies, security institutions, traditional and religious leaders, development partners, youth organizations, and other critical stakeholders to develop practical, youth-driven strategies for addressing insecurity and promoting sustenance of peace across the region. To facilitate this initiative, the forum planned to constitute a committee to develop the framework, modalities, and implementation plan for the proposed Northern Security Youth Summit.
The stakeholders reaffirmed their commitments to youth empowerment, national unity, and sustainable development, pledging continued support for initiatives that promote peace and security across northern Nigeria. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested a South African woman at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, for allegedly attempting to smuggle 5.75 kilograms of heroin hidden in her luggage while traveling with her son. According to the statement signed by the agency's Director of Media and Advocacy, Mr. Femi Babafemi, NDLEA also arrested a commercial motorcycle rider at the Murtala Muhammad International Airport, Lagos, while recovering 100 wraps of methamphetamine from his luggage and through excretion observation. The statement added that operatives also recovered 4.1 tons of Canadian loud, a strain of cannabis worth over 10.3 billion naira, during a joint examination of a container at the Apapa Seaport in Lagos, while an attempt to export skunk hidden in a gas compressor to Cyprus was foiled. NDLEA's chairman, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, commended the officers involved in the operation and urged them to sustain the momentum in drug supply reduction and the agency's war against drug abuse campaign across the country. Kaduna State has launched the 2026 Tissomyces Mass Drug Administration campaign, targeting more than 1.7 million school-aged children across its 23 local government areas as part of efforts to eliminate the disease by 2030. Permanent Secretary of the State Ministry of Health, Aisha Abubakar Sadiq, said all 23 local government areas remain endemic with a prevalence rate of 13.8%. She warned that untreated schistosomiasis can lead to anemia, malnutrition, infertility, and poor cognitive development. Sadiq said more than 1.17 million children received treatment during the 2025 campaign, while over 5,000 health workers and community drug distributors have been trained to support the exercise this year. Development partners, including Site Savers and the World Health Organization, reaffirmed their commitment to supporting Kaduna State through improved disease prevention, safe water, sanitation, and hygiene initiative to achieve elimination of the disease by 2030. Leading cancer experts, researchers, and healthcare professionals from across Africa gathered in Abuja for the Best of ASCO Africa 2026 conference, a high-level forum aimed at strengthening cancer care and improving patients' outcomes across the continent. Held under the theme, From Global Discovery to Local Delivery, Driving Africa to the Cutting Edge of Cancer Care. The conference is organized in collaboration with the African Organization for Research and Training in Cancer. The meeting seeks to bring global breakthroughs in cancer research, advanced therapies, and medical innovations into everyday clinical practice in Africa, particularly in low-resource settings. Speaking at the event, Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the National Institute for Cancer Research and Treatment, Professor Usman Malami, joined other leading health experts in calling for stronger partnerships, greater investment in cancer research, and improved access to modern diagnostics and treatment services across Africa.
The federal government brought out some strategies to actually curtail the scourge and menace of cancer in the country. And the one being that the introduction of what we call the Catastrophic Health Fund, and which is domiciled in the National Health Insurance Agency. The catastrophic funds is hoped to subsidize the cost of care, right from the diagnosis, even prevention, right from prevention, diagnosis, treatment.
Many of these therapies are also very expensive. And in the U.S., we struggle with how can we possibly pay for it, much less in the African context. So that's been a lot of the discussion, is what can we translate, how can we implement strategies to get these drugs available to everyone, everywhere, not just those who have private insurance. How do we get them incorporated into the public health insurance schemes throughout the world?
Speakers at the conference said Africa must accelerate the adoption of an evidence-based cancer care to ensure patients benefit from the latest global medical advancements.
So on a global space, right, we see that there's a global cancer divide. You know, I practice in the United States, and I've had the opportunity to practice in some institutions and some centers in Nigeria. And what I've seen firsthand is that the therapies and the technologies that is accessible to us, me being an oncologist in the United States, is way different than what is accessible in Nigeria, for example. So this is the reason why we have this initiative, for us to talk about the new innovative technologies and therapies and start thinking about how do we close the divide, how do we bring it to our continent. And one of the goal of this conference or this initiative is to start thinking about how do we assess this as a Pan-African initiative.
Now in 2012 we all made a commitment through the African Union about where we said 1% of our GDP would be dedicated towards research and development. I think from a grassroots level what we can do as a civil society is really to motivate and advocate for that funding to actually be used to, one, do contextual research.
One of the achievements and accomplishments of Nigeria this year is that we have 3 immunotherapy studies in the country for the first time ever. That means for the first time ever, big name drugs like nivolumab, Keytruda are available in country where we never had them before. So that means that you wouldn't have to go abroad to get these drugs, and they're life-saving drugs. So that's significant, and the better part is at no cost to Nigerians. And if we can access those drugs, we can save lives. So that alone is significant. And part of how we got there is through research.
The conference is expected to foster knowledge sharing, promote collaboration among African cancer specialists, and identify practical strategies for improving cancer prevention, early detection, treatment, and overall patient care across the continent. As health authorities intensify surveillance against Ebola and other infectious diseases, the Akwa Ibom State Ministry of Health says it is on high alert to detect and respond swiftly to any suspected outbreak. Adbn TV's Mfonopan visited the ministry's Emergency Operations Center, where emergency calls are received, response teams coordinated, and ambulances dispatched.
On an ordinary day, it appears calm. Phones ring occasionally, officers monitor reports, and emergency teams remain on standby. But behind this quiet routine is a system designed to respond the moment an infectious disease threat is detected. The State Emergency Operations Center serves as the coordination hub for public health emergencies. To understand how Akwa Ibom is preparing against Ebola, we joined the state epidemiologist, Dr. Nchiek Edetime, as she walked us through the state's response strategy.
Capacity building for the healthcare workers, then also some of them, the frontline healthcare workers, then also at the entry points, like the airports, we have put certain things in place. For example, temperature check. Also, we also have what we call lists from NCDC sent to us for, we call them passengers of interest. So these passengers are coming from, other countries. And now the spotlight is on Uganda and those countries that actually have Ebola. So what we do is that when we get the lists and their phone numbers, and for the time they stay in the state, we get their phone numbers, call them, monitor their temperature, and also make sure that they don't go to crowded areas.
Following a strategic review by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, Akwa Ibom State has been prioritized for enhanced Ebola surveillance and additional response support.
Akwa Ibom State has been placed on red alert. It's one of those states that have, international, airports. Also, those states even have seaports, and also porous borders.
Beyond planning, Every emergency call sets a coordinated response in motion. Even after an ambulance leaves the station, the operations center continues to monitor the response until the patient arrives safely at the hospital. We also followed the response team inside one of the emergency ambulances to see how care begins long before a patient reaches the hospital.
So we get a call from the call center that there is an emergency. Because we are set for all emergencies, we've done all the preparedness that is needed. So all we need to is to jump into the ambulance, turn on all the machines, turn on the inverter, get the machine, you understand, set up the oxygen depending on the case. For example, if it's a cholera outbreak, we ensure that our flutes are ready.
Health authorities say there is no cause for alarm, but they encourage residents to report any unusual illness promptly. Mfonakban, Adbn News.
Akwa Ibom State government has commenced emergency desilting of blocked drainage channels in Nkemba housing extension in Uyo following the recent flooding that submerged homes and displaced residents. The exercise is being carried out by the Akwa Ibom State Environmental Protection and Waste Management Agency and is aimed at restoring the free flow of water and preventing a recurrence of the disaster. Chairman of the agency, Prince Ikam, says the intervention will go beyond clearing roadside gutters to include the adjoining ravine to ensure effective drainage systems.
Yeah, after His Excellency's marching order, we had started the evacuation as a committee headed by the Deputy Governor, Senator Apenaya, PhD. We have the Commissioner for Environment, we have the Commissioner for Works, myself and a few other persons. So we have started the evacuation. We deployed some machines to different zones as of yesterday. UNK came here, Amite Construction also came here. We had Bulletin on Asongoma and different other places. And here is what we call the Nkemba Trough. So we are trying to desilt this axis it will take us to the Kodekpene Road through to University of Ravine. So as you can see, the work is ongoing and we pray God to give us clement weather so that we can desilt this entire stretch.
Commissioner for Environment says indiscriminate dumping of refuge into drainage channels remains a major cause for flooding and urged residents to adopt proper waste disposal practices.
Flood is a natural phenomenon. There will always be floods when there is heavy rain. But as a state, we sent out early warning signals that we are expecting this flood. We did advocacy, but unfortunately it happened. So what we've noticed is that we need to desil the drains, and as we are progressing, we find out that more than 80% of areas that are flood prone is due to people dumping waste in the drains, mostly plastic waste and so on. So we are doing the best we can to make sure that we open up the channels so that subsequently there will be no flood.
Chief of Nkemba commended the government's swift response and appealed for improved waste management support in the community.
The governor of the state.
First and foremost, I would like to thank the state governor for listening to our cries. I also thank Prince Ikam for spending sleepless nights to ensure that this work commenced. The major problem in this community has always been this drainage channel. It leads into the ravine at the University of Uyo, but it became blocked and eventually rose to the same level as the road. Prince Ikam's decision to begin work at the block section was a wise one, and it will help reduce the risk of flooding in this area. I also thank the governor for providing the equipment for this project. Finally, I advise residents to stop dumping refuge into the drains, and I appeal to the state government and the Ministry of Environment to provide waste disposal sites.
Residents expressed hope that the ongoing desilting exercise will reduce the risk of future flooding and protect lives and property. during subsequent rainfall. Accredited election observers has commended the peaceful and orderly conduct of Edo State local government elections, noting that early reports from polling units across the state point to transparent voting process. Governor Monday Okpebholo also expressed satisfaction with the exercise, describing voter turnout as encouraging and praising residents for conducting themselves peacefully throughout the elections. Adbn's correspondent Favor Osazwa reports.
From the early hours of the day, voters queued patiently across polling units, eager to decide those who will lead their local councils for the next term. At Udomi Primary School in Eastern Central Local Government Area, Governor Monday Okpebholo joined all the voters to cast his ballot at about 10:40 a.m., describing the turnout as a strong reflection of grassroots democracy. He urged residents to remain peaceful and allow the electoral process to run its course.
The election is going on peacefully and the turnout is very high. You can see what is happening here now too. This is demonstration of grassroots politics, and by the grace of God, so a winner must emerge today.
Election observers monitoring the exercise across Udomi, Igweben, Ile, Egwari, and other parts of the state reported a calm atmosphere, while voters say they exercised their civic rights without intimidation, attributing the peaceful process to improved security and public confidence.
Ready to appreciate the governor of Edo State, Senator Monday Okpebholo. They are most ready to appreciate him for what he's doing for the people of Ward 10. You can see to yourself that the turn up today, my opinion today, I will want the governor, my governor, the 2.5 million he promised the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, it will increase it. Because what I'm seeing today is very, very, very much interesting.
The election is well prepared for and it's well contested. The election is going on smoothly. As you can see, the accreditation is being done peacefully and the voting is going on simultaneously with the accreditation. Every arrangement prior to this election is well made and no cause of alarm.
We just voted. There's no fight, nothing. We are all brothers and sisters here, so we don't have problem here. There's no problem. They came here before 8, thereabouts, yes.
With security personnel maintaining order and observers reporting a peaceful process, the early conduct of the Edo local government election reflected growing confidence in grassroots democracy.
Well, you can see the atmosphere is filled up of people that are very excited to come and cast their vote. Accreditation started very well and vote has been ongoing and it's still going very well right now as we speak. You can see the mammoth crowd here. This is as a result of what His Excellency, the Executive Governor, has demonstrated in Edo since assumption in office as Governor of Edo State.
Stakeholders now hope the calm atmosphere will be sustained through the conclusion of voting and the official declaration of results. In Edo State, Favor Osazwa, Adbn News.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has extended the deadline for political parties to submit the names and credentials of candidates for the 2027 presidential and National Assembly elections. Political parties now have until midnight on Tuesday, the 14th of July, to complete the exercise after the electoral body approved request for more time. INEC said the decision followed appeals from political parties facing challenges with the submission process. National Commissioner and Chairman of the Information and Voter Education Committee, Muhammad Haruna, said the request was conveyed through the Inter-Party Advisory Council. A faction of the People's Democratic Party, led by FCT Minister Barrister Nyesom Wike, says it has successfully uploaded the names of its presidential candidates, running mates, and National Assembly candidates to the INEC Candidates Nomination Portal ahead of the 2027 general elections. The party's national chairman, Abdulrahman Mohammed, announced this in a statement today, saying the move shows the party's readiness to take full part in the polls. The party also confirmed that INEC candidate nomination portal shows 410 candidate forms registered on the PDP dashboard, with 367 successfully submitted and 42 still pending. Mohammed said the party is now awaiting the upload of its governorship and state houses of assembly candidates, while congratulating members on the latest milestone in the nomination process. Also, the All Progressives Congress says it has met INEC's deadline for the submission of its presidential and National Assembly candidate for the 2027 general elections. In a statement, the party said it completed the upload of the particulars of its presidential, vice presidential, Senate, and House of Representatives candidate before the 11th of July deadline, noting that INEC later extended the closing date to July 14th, following request from some opposition parties. The APC said the extension highlights the opposition's inability to effectively manage its nomination process, arguing that parties unable to conclude their internal affairs cannot inspire public confidence in governance. The ruling party said its timely submission reflects discipline and organization capacity, while urging its members to intensify grassroots mobilization and promote President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda ahead of the 2027 elections. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, has urged parliamentary correspondents to promote national unity through responsible, balanced and accurate reporting. He made the call at the inauguration of the newly elected executives of the House of Representatives Press Corps in Abuja, where he stressed the need for professionalism in strengthening democracy and fostering national cohesion. The House leadership also reaffirmed its commitments to transparency and constructive engagement with the media, describing the parliamentary press as a vital link between the legislature and the public.
What you write unites, which means that the power of what you hold in your hand can also divide. So can we choose the first one and continue in that trajectory, writing for the unification, consolidation of Nigeria, writing for national cohesion of Nigeria, writing for national loyalty of Nigeria, writing to inspire patriotism, love for one's own country.
In this new term, I encourage you to continue to uphold the highest standards of journalism, accuracy, fairness, professionalism, and responsibility. A strong legislature and a vibrant, credible press are mutually reinforcing pillars of any healthy.
The newly elected executives pledged to strengthen collaboration with the House leadership while upholding the highest standards of ethical professionalism.
In the last 2 years, the Corps under this leadership has worked harmoniously with the House leadership. We have built bridges, opened channels of communication, and ensure that the work of the 10th Assembly is reported accurately and responsibly. And we did this without sacrificing the integrity and ethics of journalism profession. That balance will remain.
You're watching Adbn News at 7. More reports to come after this break. Stay with us.
Abuja is rising. The Federal Capital Territory keeps moving forward with purpose, progress, and renewed hope. Join the Federal Capital Territory Administration as we continue to celebrate the commissioning of landmark projects and flag off new ones under the visionary leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu GCFR by the Honorable Minister of the FCT, His Excellency Barrister Nyesom Ezenwo-Wike, and Honorable Minister of State, FCT, Dr. Maria Mahmood, in commemoration of the 3rd anniversary of the administration of Mr. President, Day 24, on Monday, the 13th of July 2026. The President, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will flag off the access road from Tungan Madaki to Abuja Kaduna Road by Zuba. Venue, Tungan Madaki, Airport Area. Time, 12 noon. Let's be part of history. The Federal Capital Territory Administration, building infrastructure, preserving history, empowering communities, transforming lives.
Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. You're watching Adbn News at 7. As Nigeria prepares for the 2027 general elections, media experts have raised concerns over the growing threat of AI-driven disinformation and its impact on the country's information space. At a high-level masterclass in Abuja, organized by the Spanish Embassy, CACA Africa, the Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development, and other partners, participants said the biggest challenge is no longer just AI-generated falsehoods, but how they are amplified, targeted, and shared without accountability. Experts warn that generative AI and deepfakes are making false content more convincing, while also highlighting the risk of bias in AI tools used for fact-checking. They stress the need for strengthening verification efforts, especially in local languages such as Hausa.
So I think, as we have seen these days, the main goal has to be working a lot in media literacy, giving tools and stories also to the people to see what disinformation can do and how dangerous it is.
Coming a big election next year, you know that you will have the usual electoral disinformation about that the process is rigged and that there are people that are dead that will vote, and maybe some regional, you're like a big country with different ethnicities, so I'm sure you will also get some different disinformation regarding concrete ethnicities on concrete parts of the country. So, I mean, you have to be well aware. Remember that the voting right is one of the principal rights of every citizen here in Nigeria. Everyone should vote in freedom, and everyone should get the whole information to vote who he wants.
The journalists have to understand that not every statement, not every word said, maybe word of mouth, or even the one posted on social media is actually true, even if it is in the local language, most especially as the election is approaching for the 2027, whereby we have seen a lot in the past elections since 2007, a lot of misinformation, disinformation regards to political parties, regards to candidates. So this one too will not really be an exception. And the worst thing is that this time around there will be an AI-generated one.
The masterclass also examines the growing role of AI in newsrooms, showcasing tools for translation, transcription, and detecting AI-generated content, while emphasizing responsible and ethical use of the technology.
I think the conversation we've had yesterday is just to draw the attention of journalists and generally the media to understand the information risk that we are battling ahead of the elections. And three things that journalists have been discussing is that, one, there is a growing conversation around voter apathy, information that is discouraging people not to go out and vote. And also we're looking at and say, what kind of solutions can journalists prefer? What are they going to do in order to protect information integrity and also protect standards of democracy? So the whole conversation has been around journalists protecting the information space, countering misinformation, but most importantly, withstanding the standards of democracy.
What we're trying today is to foster this debate inside journalism. So, one, the importance of how to act and how to face this information, and also, very important right now these days, how to face this new scenery that AI is bringing in front of us. So this is what we wanted to foster a debate here, to help journalists to think about it. And our goal today is to, after this debate, to have like a common conclusions of all the participants that can be shared not only among the 30 participants, but to extend to everyone. No?
We're at a time when elections are very affected by disinformation and misinformation. We thought that it was the right time to organize this training to strengthen the skills of the fact-checking skills, and also to promote responsible journalism. At the same time, for the embassy is a small way to give back to the journalists who always support us in the activities we organize, and that they come and join us to cover the activities.
Participants concluded the session by drafting practical guidelines for newsrooms, stressing that credible journalism, thorough fact-checking and accountability will be essential to protect Nigeria's democracy from information disorder ahead of the 2027 elections. The Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, has donated ambulances and critical healthcare equipment to the Gambia to strengthen the country's healthcare system and improve emergency response. The intervention, implemented by the West African Health Organization, WAO, with support from the African Development Bank, is part of a regional initiative to boost preparedness for future public health emergencies following lessons from the COVID-19 response. Here's the report. 10 modern ambulances, laboratory equipment, oxygen concentrators, ventilators, X-ray machines, hemodialysis machines, and other biomedical tools were formally handed over to the Gambian government during a high-level ceremony attended by regional leaders, development partners, and health officials. Speaking at the event, President of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Omar Aliyu Toure, said COVID-19 pandemic exposed weaknesses in health systems across the region, but also strengthened the resolve of member states to work together.
Between 2024 and 2025, 852 health workers and stakeholders have been were trained in integrated disease surveillance and response, incident management systems, infection prevention and control, and other critical areas. This reflects the commitment of the Gambian government and its people to building a resilient health system for future generations.
Representing President Adama Barrow, Gambian Vice President Mohamed B.S. Jallo described the initiative as a major intervention in the country's healthcare system.
This is a direct response to a critical need. Rural and remote communities continue to transport ill family members to health facilities. These ambulances will now be deployed in communities to serve as vessels of hope. These items will strengthen our ability to respond to emergencies, ranging from road traffic accidents to obstetric complications and infectious disease outbreaks.
WAO's Director General, Dr. Melchor Assi, said post-pandemic assessments revealed significant gaps in healthcare preparedness across the region. He also announced plans to support the Gambia in establishing an emergency medical service to improve emergency response and patient care nationwide.
Bala a répondu pour 3 pays. Il s'agit du Mali, du Niger et de la Gambie. Nous avons fait les mêmes choses au niveau des autres pays. Le Niger et le Mali également, même qu'ils soient sortis, on a fait les mêmes choses là-bas. Je voudrais juste profiter pour remercier Monsieur le ministre de la Santé ici, parce que nous avons d'énormes difficultés à adresser les modèles que vous voyez, qui sont des ambulances de type 3, qui sont en fait des hôpitaux mobiles. C'est des systèmes de réanimation mobiles.
This handover today is seen as a direct response by ECOWAS through WAO to address pressing health challenges across the West African region. While excitement and hopes are high today on the usage of these equipment, however, It remains to be seen how effectively these ambulances and the rest of the equipment would help combat emerging health challenges and threats across the West African region. Amma Marcus reporting from Banjul, the Gambia.
The federal government has approved a uniform registration fee of 50,000 naira for the WAEC and NECO senior secondary school certificate examinations from 2027. The new rate replaces WAEC's 27,000 naira and NECO's 30,000 naira charges. The approval was contained in a June 18, 2026 memo signed by the Director of Senior Secondary Education, Adbn Ibrahim, on behalf of the Minister of Education. The ministry said the decision followed a March 31st meeting with examination bodies where a uniform fee was agreed. The hike is expected to place more pressure on parents and state governments that sponsor candidates. For years, gaps in identity verification and limited access to public services have hindered Nigeria's drive towards a fully digital economy. To address these challenges, the National Identity Management Commission and the Nigerian Postal Service, NIPOT, have formed a strategic partnership to strengthen the national identity system and expand citizens' access to government services. Let's listen in.
In a country of more than 200 million people, proving identity remains a challenge for millions, particularly in underserved communities. Strengthening the systems that verify identity is now seen as a key step towards improving access to government services and driving Nigeria's digital transformation. That ambition brought together the National Identity Management Commission and the Nigerian Postal Service in Abuja, where both agencies formalized a new partnership designed to strengthen Nigeria's identity ecosystem.
The postcode system, when completed, adopted and utilized, provides the framework for addressing location intelligence, logistics, planning, emergency response, and citizen access to services. Individually, these systems are important, but together, they become transformational.
It is a demonstration of our shared commitment to building an integrated national ecosystem, where identity and location work together to improve governance, service delivery, economic participation, and improve the everyday lives of Nigerians.
The NIPOT-NIMC collaboration complements the ongoing partnership, NPC, geared towards rolling out a system to assign a unique, machine-readable digital address to every addressable building in Nigeria. The Commission's engagement also extended to the Federal Ministry of Justice, where discussions focused on the implementation of NIMC Act and the ministry's role in strengthening the legal framework.
This supports extradition proceedings, international criminal justice cooperation with the Interpol and UNODC, and recovery of stolen assets through authenticated identification verification.
It's important that we key into it, especially because of the benefits in, advancing the anti-corruption drive of Mr. President. You have to go around. You also have to sensitize members of the public, to know what this act promises and to allay the fears of those who are averse or who are afraid that something will happen. Of course, something will happen. If the law comes into existence, and it has come into existence, let everybody know.
Ultimately, the success of Nigeria's digital economy will depend on the strength, security, and trustworthiness of the identity system that underpins it. Jesse Morris, Adbn News.
Federal government has been urged to strengthen support for inventions and innovations that empower young people with the skills, opportunity, and resources needed to drive entrepreneurship and economic growth. The call was made at an international conference themed The Power Within, Reforming Entrepreneurship Mentality, Think Bold, Build Bigger, which brought together entrepreneurs, policymakers, business leaders, academics, and young innovators to promote a mindset shift towards innovation, enterprise development, and sustainable wealth creation. Convener, reshaping her international conference, Dr. Blessing Ugo, underscored the need to reform the entrepreneurial mindset by encouraging young people to think beyond conventional career paths, embrace innovation, and develop solutions capable of addressing societal challenges while creating jobs and boosting the nation's economy.
The vision behind this course today was about informing the women in general, informing people on the need for understanding the new innovations that they need to introduce in terms of investing in business or getting into business ventures, etc. Today I pioneered this. I decided to bring this up here to encourage that move, to speak to the young ladies, to speak to the government as well, to look forward to bringing up inventions of industries in Nigeria, because this will aid the better growth of the economy and the betterment of her citizens.
Other speakers at the event noted that unlocking the creativity and potential of the young Nigerians through innovation and enterprise would accelerate national development, reduce unemployment, and enhance the nation's global competitiveness.
The vision behind reshaping her is to bring young, enterprising women together who are trying to create something for themselves. The truth is that every human being, every young girl there needs guidance and needs a push. So our vision is to see how we can impact them in our own little way and have conversations and see how these young people can move forward, especially the young girls in their various industry and field.
The youth have a unique advantage because they are audacious. They are able to think outside of the box and they are able to adapt quickly to different circumstances. So what the government can do is to help the youth create a more enabling business environment by putting in implementing some different incentives, different programs that will give the youth the technical skills that they need to succeed in today's job market, and also to help entrepreneurs who also employ youth by giving them different tax incentives and giving them other supports that would help them to nurture the youth that are coming up in today's society.
Participants expressed optimism that with the right policies, strategic investments, and sustained collaboration between the government and the private sector, Nigeria can harness the ingenuity of its young people to drive innovation, create jobs, and build a more prosperous and globally competitive economy. Ukrainian officials say at least 4 people have been killed after Russia launched a fresh wave of overnight drone and missile attacks across Ukraine. 3 of the victims died in the strikes in the central Dnipropetrovsk region, including 2 at an industrial facility in Rig. A separate drone strike on the southern city of Kherson claimed the life of a 48-year-old resident. The latest attacks come ahead of a meeting of Ukraine's allies in Paris, aimed at increasing pressure on Russia to end the more than 4-year conflict as Ukraine continues to face sustained ballistic missile strikes. Nigeria's under-17 girls, the Flamingos, left nothing to chance as they defeated the Amazons of Benin Republic 5-3 in Lomé on Saturday to make sure of a place at this year's FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup finals. The win earned them victory over 2 legs on 8-5 aggregate. Coach Akeem Basuri's side confirmed their qualification after an impressive performance in the return leg, sealing progression from the final qualifying round in emphatic fashion. The Flamingos had taken a slender 3-2 advantage from the first leg encounter held in Ikene, Ogun State, last weekend, setting up a decisive second leg clash. The Flamingos will now join the world's best at the 2026 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup as they aim to build on the growing reputation on the world stage. Nigerian gospel singer Toluwani Sings and members of his crew have survived a road accident involving their bus and a fully loaded trailer. The accident occurred on Saturday as the team was returning from a gospel ministration. In a post on Instagram, the singer described the crash as an attempt on their lives, but said they survived without any loss of life. He also shared photos of the damaged bus, expressing gratitude for their safety. Well, that's it on Adbn News at 7. Remember to watch us live on DSTV channel 258. Start time is channel 140, Avo TV app, Limix World TV app, and Niger TV app. For more stories, visit our website at adbntv.com. Not forgetting, you can watch us live from every part of the world by logging on to adbntv.com/live. Thanks for joining the news this evening. I am Amma Marcus. Good evening.
Adbn, a part of you.